Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentation based on Chapter 9 through marketing segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Segmentation for developing a market strategy, criteria for segmentation, a geographic, demographic, and physiographic segmentation, product-related segmentation, market segmentation plus 4 basic strategies, and positioning strategies.
I'll be doing the essential components, the role of market segmentation for developing a market strategy, and criteria for effective segmentation. So what is a market? A market is a group of people with sufficient purchasing power, authority, and willingness to buy. A target market is a group the firm decides to dedicate its marketing efforts or directs, right? Types of markets. Markets can be divided into two types of markets: consumer products and business products. Consumer products are bought for personal use, and business products are bought for direct or indirect production of other goods, services for resale. Market segmentation is the division of the total market into smaller, relatively homogeneous groups. Criteria for effective segmentation. First, you will need measurable size and purchasing power. I'm going to be using the example of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. They use Conor McGregor to tap into the Irish market, which has 6.5 million people. And considering a good pay-per-view sales 1 million people, that is a big enough market to tap into. Ability to effectively serve and promote the segment. Irish fans desperately want a superstar Irish person. There's not too many in many sports. Good profit potential. Any profit the UFC makes after their production costs is pure profit because of their entertainment. They're not giving you a good that costs them money. So of that 6 million people, if they get 200,000 sales, that's just straight profit. And Matchfirm's marketing capabilities, Ireland was perfect for the UFC because they speak English and they have a long history of fighting. Segmenting consumer markets, there's 4 common check points: geographic, demographic, psychographic, and product-related segmentation. Thank you.
When identifying a target market, we should divide the entire market into market segments, which are groups of potential customers with common characteristics that influence their buying decisions. Geographic segmentation, it divides a market according to climate, region, and population density. Climate is crucial for many products. For example, it would be weird to try selling snow shovels in Hawaii. Consumer tastes also vary by region, just like how McDonald's offers some food items at certain locations. Likewise, differences between urban and rural life can influence product selection. For example, it's a hassle to parallel park on crowded city streets. Thus, Toyota engineers have developed a hybrid gas-electric car and can automatically parallel park itself. Next is demographic segmentation. It divides the groups into segments such as gender, age, ethnic group, income, occupation, education, and stage in family life cycle. An example would be gender. Lipstick is usually marketed for women, while facial shaving is usually marketed for men. In terms of age, baby food is for babies, and retirement communities are marketed for seniors. Another example is stage in family life cycle. A house with someone who is unmarried and living alone looks a lot different than a house that has children. Now, psychographic segmentation, it allows people to describe themselves using value and lifestyle surveys, or VALS. It is a segmentation system that divides consumers into 8 psychographic categories, where consumers are asked questions with a collection of several hundred AIO statements. Marketers can then develop a marketing strategy that fits with each person's lifestyle segment.
Product-related segmentation is dividing the consumer market into homogeneous groups based on the relationship to the product, good, or service. There are 3 types of product-related segmentation that I will be going over. The first one being segmenting by benefit sought, based on the relationship that people seek when looking to buy a product, good, or service. Then groups the consumers based on the benefits they wanted or expected from the product. An example of this would be Jordans, where some people buy them for aesthetic purposes and to wear them with style, while others buy them for sportswear and to wear them while playing basketball. This is an example of where people might buy the same product for 2 different reasons. Another form is segmenting by usage rates. This is segmenting a total market according to the amount of product they buy and use. In other words, how much and how often they buy a product. It then groups them into 4 different categories: heavy, moderate, light, and non-users. And it all comes from the 80-20 rule. This is where 80% of a total product revenue comes from a relatively small amount of the total consumer market, approximately 20%. Although the numbers are not always exactly 80 and 20%, the principle stays true as majority of the product revenue comes from a small group of the total consumer market. The last one is segmenting by brand loyalty. This is grouping. It's where it groups consumers according to the strength of the brand loyalty they feel towards the brand and the product. For example, reward programs, frequent purchases, and travel agencies. A bunch of companies often use this for their advantage. For example, gym memberships and even Tim Hortons. For example, how Tim Hortons has the roll up to win, where you have to buy the coffee in order to have a chance to win.
Market segmentation process plus 4 basic strategies. What market segmentation process is developing relevant profile for each segment. 2, forecast market potential. 3, forecast probable market share, being able to do model projections through yearly, semi-annually, and so on. And last but not least, select specific market segments, being able to market your product or service towards one specific or more age groups or target demographic. So what are the 4 basic strategies of marketing in general? Is undifferentiated marketing. Basically what undifferentiated marketing is marketing towards a demographic as a whole, having one market strategy in mind, such as Coca-Cola doing seasonal promotions and advertisements and targeting targeting a whole specific group, therefore increasing revenue sales as Coca-Cola aims to be dominant throughout the world as the most consumed beverage. Secondly, differentiated marketing is a bunch of companies in the same market share, such as Corolla and Crest, therefore having to differentiate their products through branding, and therefore making the consumer feel like which brand is more reliable and safe to use overall. Last but not least, concentrated marketing. What concentrated marketing is selecting a specific demographic or group and targeting them, such as Rolls-Royce and Rolex, due to having limited releases and therefore due to their high prices. Last but not least, micro-marketing. Micro-marketing is using data from customers and using them towards benefiting apps such as notifications and promotions and so on, such as Uber.
Positioning strategies. Positioning is placing a product at a certain place or location within the market in the minds of prospective buyers. In other words, it's putting a product into the minds of other people and influencing their point of views, trying to make them like the product because that's what you want. So it's like giving someone a love letter. You give it to them to influence their point of view so that they like you back. The positioning map is a map which describes what your target market thinks of your product. In other words, it describes what people think of your product. It'll tell you that group A loves it, and it'll tell you that group B absolutely hates it. Repositioning is changing the position of a product to better appeal towards consumers while also getting an advantage against competitors. In other words, it's changing people's opinions of your product by changing the product itself, either by changing it the way it's advertised or changing the way it looks. Kind of like chess, you're moving around the pieces, you're changing your strategies in order to change people's opinions and gain an advantage. There are 6 strategies. The attributes of your product, which is the basic elements of your product, the price and quality. So is your product worth it? Should it change by price? The competitors of the market, who are your competitors and are they doing better or worse than you? The application of your product, so how is it used? Should it be harder, easier, bigger, little? The product user, basically, what does your product target towards? So is your product meant for kids or adults? And the product class, basically where your product falls below. So if, for example, say you're selling computers, that would be under technology. So you want to sell that in the technological market and not the fish market downtown.
Thanks for listening to our presentation.